Now is the winter of your discontent. The weather is no longer in God's hands, but in mine.
To stop a madman.
You will buy your weather from me.
On a mission of destruction.
Hundreds of millions will die. They'll drown, burn.
You need a lady.
Play, Dr. Peel.
Dorico is with us. Augustus Dorico is with us. He is the founder and CEO of Rainmaker. This is a cloud seeding company. Welcome, Augustus. How are you?
Hi, Glenn. I'm blessed. I appreciate you having me here. And again, still, my heart and prayers go out to all the people of Texas. I'm here in Dallas now, actually. And though we didn't have anything to do with the flooding, I still am praying for everybody affected by it.
It has got to be pretty disturbing for you to hear you are being blamed for, cloud seeding and knowing science. I have to tell you, I don't know much about cloud seeding. It bothers me what I see over in England, but I, again, haven't taken the time to really look into it. So explain what cloud seeding does and how you know you didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, I can also explain to you what cloud seeding does and what cloud seeding is not, right? Because you're referencing something from England that we can talk about in a second. So cloud seeding is a technology developed in the United States in the 1940s to increase water supply for farms, for ecosystem conservation, for reservoirs, for residences, and also our industries. It relies on identifying liquid in clouds and then releasing particulate, specifically silver iodide, into those clouds that the water freezes onto into big snowflakes and then become heavy enough to fall as rain. Cloud seeding has been going on in the United States for decades. It, again, is paid for by farmers and utilities and government entities that want more water for their constituents.
just happened in Texas. The fact that they slashed the National Weather Service, whether or not that was the direct proximate cause of those deaths, the fact that we're having that conversation is the issue. The fact that we aren't sure is the problem. And so we need to hold to what we deserve. We should not be dissuaded, especially as Black women, as women of color, as people of color. We should not be convinced that we don't have power. They are mad at us for a reason. There are enough of us that we can change the outcome of elections, but also change the outcome of power.
I do think as lawmakers, we have a responsibility, though, to look at, did cuts affect the ability for folks on the ground and at the camp to have an earlier, better warning? But this is really going to, should we just attack government for government's sake? And for the last 6 months.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only, conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter. It's not to say that we don't want the girls to be found, whatever girls that are missing or whatever right now, but you best believe, especially in today's political climate, if this were a group of Hispanic girls, especially with them being in East Texas, it should be most likely Hispanic. If this were a group of Hispanic girls out there, this would not be getting this type of coverage that they're getting. No one would give a and all these white people, the parents of these little girls, would be saying things like they need to be deported, they shouldn't have been here in the first place, and yada, yada, yada. So before y'all come at me, before y'all start leaving hate comments on my page about, oh, these are just kids and they don't know no better, the parents of these children who are choosing, and it is a choice in 2025, it is definitely a freaking choice to go into East damn Texas and to make a all-white enclave, exclusionary just for white people, with all the black people in East Texas, with all the Hispanic people in East Texas. Somehow, some way, you have carved out an all-white, whites-only enclave in East Texas for your white children. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. Once again, this is no shade to the girls. I hope they all get found. But once again, y'all have to understand the climate that we're living in. They want you to have sympathy for these people. They want you to get out of your bed and to come out of your home and to go find these people and to donate your money to go find these people. Meanwhile, they are deporting your family members. Meanwhile, they're setting up concentration camps and prisons for your family members. And I need y'all to keep that in mind before y'all get out there and put on your rain boots and go find these little girls.
Y'all were okay with motherfuckers being stripped away from their motherfucking families and never seeing them again. People being deported. Y'all were okay with that. Be okay with not finding Sarah Lou. Be okay with not finding Billy. Be okay with never seeing them again. Keep that same energy, because I'm here for it. I am so here for it. Because I've been reading the comments and the shit y'all be saying. Y'all didn't give a fuck when it was brown people. We sorry that it's white people now, but that's gonna happen. This is gonna be a repetitive cycle gonna happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until y'all get tired. Racism cost y'all more than y'all thought. Racism wrote what's that line? Racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. Yeah, racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. And guess who's paying for it? Okay.
So God did it to us for being racist?
Of emergency response, and then talk about the role of climate change.
Thank you so much, Amy, for having me on, and thank you for continuing to cover this story the way you have. And I want to start by saying my heart goes out to the families of the victims, to the people who lost their lives in this tragic event. It was entirely preventable. Many of those lost lives could have been saved if links in our disaster response chain hadn't been broken. And I will start by responding to the governor's comments, which I found incredibly callous. To compare this tragedy to a football game is really what trivializes it and what causes people to think thunderstorms and extreme weather isn't the threat to their lives that it is. And the same with the president. Their budget, their evacuate, they all tried to evacuate at once, and that caused traffic jams and people to get stuck in places where they were vulnerable. And again, the children on the banks of this river were never able to really protect themselves from this devastation. And a lot of people in the local offices are community members. Community members. People in the local offices are community members. They live and work in these places all over the country. And if people think this was a freak accident and couldn't happen to them, they should think again. Pay attention to the weather. Pay attention to this flood alley in Texas. It could be a fire. It could be a hurricane. It could be a flood in another part of the country, even in a city like San Diego or San Antonio a month ago.
Of the climate catastrophe. The same day of the floods, you have President Trump signing off on the budget that eviscerates support for renewable energy and supercharges a fossil fuel economy. As people point the finger at who's responsible and say, come on, no one could have predicted this. Isn't that at the heart of climate change? Unpredictability, but more severe and more frequent climate catastrophes like this one.
It's at the very heart of what we're seeing today and why it's even more tragic that this legislation is happening and going into effect. It was ludicrous that the Speaker of the House said, all we can do is pray. That is not true. We have the capacity. We are not powerless. What we are doing is making ourselves powerless by taking away the tools, by taking away the high technology and the know-how and the people that can give us the ability to be prepared for storms like this and to save lives. That's what's at risk here.
Finally, the cost of NOAA per person in this country, Monica Medina.
It's trivial. It costs the equivalent for each citizen of a cup of coffee. It's less than $5 a year per citizen to have the kind of warnings and watches that NOAA is responsible for. And if you add in the satellites and all the other research that we do to keep improving those forecasts and giving people more time to prepare, that's 2 cups of coffee in a year to cover the cost of all of that. It's trivial. We can afford it. We are not like other countries who can't afford to put our heads in the sand in the midst of what is increasingly dangerous weather.
Use your words. Who's to blame? Know this. That's the word choice of losers. Every football team makes mistakes. The losing teams are the ones that try to point out who's to blame. The championship teams are the ones that say, don't worry about it, man. We got this. We're going to make sure that we go score again, that we're going to win this game. The way winners talk is not to point fingers. They talk about solutions.
Oh my.